All right, so you want to make your D&D characters, you know those characters that people really remember?
Yeah.
The ones that kind of jump off the page? We're talking about D&D character flaws today.
Okay.
And we're using this awesome guide from Lit RPG Reads on D&D 5e flaws.
Cool.
And this isn't about making your character weak. It's about making them feel real.
Yeah, it's about giving them depth.
Yeah.
Like, you take a perfect circle and you add just these little imperfections to it, and it turns into like a hand-drawn sketch.
Oh, I like that.
Suddenly it's way more interesting, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with your characters.
Absolutely.
Instead of just being like this, collection of stats and abilities, they become like a real person.
Right. They have some rough edges.
Exactly. They've got quirks, they have fears, maybe even some, questionable moral choices.
Yeah, and that makes them so much more interesting to play.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like you were saying, giving them that lived-in feel.
Yeah.
Like a favorite pair of jeans.
Yeah, like they've seen some stuff.
Exactly. But how do flaws actually impact the way we play the game?
Well, I think the key is to remember that flaws aren't just for role-playing.
Okay.
They can actually create obstacles and opportunities within the game itself.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So let's say your character has a fear of heights.
Pretty common fear.
Yeah, totally understandable, right?
Yeah.
Now imagine the party needs to scale this, treacherous cliff to reach this vital objective. Suddenly that fear isn't just a funny quirk, it becomes this challenge that the whole party has to figure out how to overcome.
Oh man, I can already see the drama unfolding.
Right.
Do they try to coax their friend up the cliff?
Yeah.
Do they look for another way around?
Exactly. Or do they just hoist them up kicking and screaming?
Oh, that'd be fun to watch.
It's like their personal struggle becomes this group challenge.
I love that.
Yeah.
And the guide gives all these cool examples like insatiable greed. Imagine your character finds a treasure chest and just refuses to share.
Oh.
Or a noble's crippling arrogance, so they won't listen to advice because they think they know better.
Oh, classic.
Right.
It's like a recipe for disaster.
Okay, so the guide also mentions this D100 list of flaws.
Yeah.
Is that where players should start? Just roll the dice and let fate decide.
It's a great resource for ideas.
Okay.
But I think it's even more interesting when the flaws organically fit your character concept.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Like, what kind of background have you created for them? What kind of personality are you going for?
Yeah.
The flaws should be a natural extension of who they are.
So don't just randomly pick fear of spiders unless there's a reason why your character would be afraid of spiders.
Right, exactly.
Like maybe they had a traumatic experience as a child or something.
Yeah, or maybe their family was, cursed by a spider god or something.
Oh, now that's a good backstory.
See? It's all about making it make sense.
Okay, so let's say we found the perfect flaw.
Right.
It fits our character perfectly. How do we bring it to life during the game?
Okay, so you could just announce it to the table.
Right. Hey, everybody, my character's terrified of water.
Exactly. But where's the fun in that?
Right.
Instead, imagine you're faced with your first river crossing.
No, okay.
Instead of just saying, I'm afraid, describe your character's hesitations, their sweaty palms, maybe even a stammer in their voice as they try to convince themselves it's going to be okay.
Show, don't tell.
Exactly. Let the other players see the flaw in action.
I like that.
They can react to it naturally.
Yeah, that's so much more impactful.
Way more interesting.
But isn't there a risk that the flaws could make the game too hard?
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Like, what if my character's flaw prevents them from completing a mission?
Well, that's where the collaborative aspect comes in.
Okay.
You, as the player,
Right.
you choose flaws that challenge your character, but don't completely paralyze them.
Right.
And your DM, they're not there to punish you for having flaws.
Okay.
They're there to use those flaws to weave a more interesting story.
So it's like the DM is saying, okay, I see your character struggles. Let's see how this plays out.
Yeah.
Let's create some challenges that will really test them, but also give them a chance to grow.
Exactly.
I like that.
And the guide even mentions that flaws can be incredible opportunities for character development.
Ooh, okay.
Imagine a hero who's initially crippled by a fear of failure,
Right?
but through facing their fear time and time again, they learn to push past it,
Yeah.
become bolder, more courageous.
That's a classic hero's journey.
Exactly.
So it's not about trying to eliminate the flaws. It's
Yeah.
about seeing how they shape the journey.
Exactly.
This is awesome. I'm starting to see flaws not as something to be ashamed of,
Right.
but as something that makes our characters unique
Yeah.
and potentially even heroic.
It's like that old saying, our flaws are what make us human.
I love that.
And in D&D, They're what make our characters come alive.
Absolutely. All right, so you mentioned earlier that things were going to get really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And we haven't even gotten to the specific examples yet.
We're just getting started.
Okay, so what's this bigger picture when it comes to flaws in D&D?
Well, we've talked about how flaws make characters feel real.
Right.
And how they can impact gameplay.
Yeah.
But there's another level to this.
Okay.
Flaws are like secret weapons for storytelling.
Ooh, I like that. Okay.
They can add this, like, drama, emotional depth.
Yeah.
Get those plot twists going.
All right, break it down for me. How do flaws work as storytelling tools?
Okay, so think about some of the most iconic stories ever told.
Okay.
Like, from classic literature to blockbuster movies.
Right.
The heroes, they always have flaws, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Achilles had his heel. Frodo had his burden. Even Superman had kryptonite.
Right. Good point.
These flaws, they create conflict, they raise the stakes,
Okay.
they make us question whether the hero will succeed.
So it's not just about making the character's life harder. It's about using those weaknesses to craft a more compelling narrative.
Exactly.
Okay, that's fascinating. Can you give me a D&D example of how this might work?
Absolutely. Let's go back to that character with insatiable greed.
Okay.
Imagine they've stumbled upon this powerful artifact.
Okay.
But it comes with a curse.
Oh.
A price to be paid for wielding its power.
Right.
Their greed might tempt them to ignore the warnings.
Oh, yeah.
To take the risk.
Yeah.
Even if it means putting the entire party in jeopardy.
Oh, man. And now their flaw isn't just a funny quirk.
Right.
It's a driving force in the story.
Exactly.
Pushing them towards potentially disastrous decisions.
And the best part is, it's not just about creating external conflict.
Okay.
It's about exploring the character's inner struggle.
Oh, I see.
Do they succumb to their greed, or do they find a way to resist it?
Right.
To put the needs of the group above their own desires?
That's where the real character development happens.
Exactly. It's like their flaw becomes this test,
Okay.
this crucible, where their true nature is forged.
Oh, I like that.
They either rise above it, or they're consumed by it.
That's awesome. And it's not just about internal struggles either, right?
Right.
Flaws can also create external conflict.
Absolutely. Let's take that noble's crippling arrogance.
Oh.
Maybe they offend a powerful wizard, or make a reckless enemy who vows revenge.
Yikes.
Suddenly, their flaw isn't just an annoyance, it's a catalyst for an entire storyline.
It's like they're creating their own villains just by being themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you bring up a good point.
Yeah.
This all sounds pretty intense.
Right.
What's the fun in playing a character who's constantly messing things up because of their flaws?
Right. Exactly.
And that brings us back to the idea of balance.
Okay.
Flaws should challenge your character, push them to their limits,
Right.
but they shouldn't make the game unplayable or frustrating.
Okay.
It's all about finding that sweet spot,
Yeah.
those flaws that create opportunities for growth, for those aha moments where the character learns from their mistakes and becomes a better version of themselves.
So it's not about winning the game by avoiding your flaws.
Right.
It's about embracing those flaws
Exactly.
and letting them shape the way you play.
Think about Luke Skywalker in Star Wars.
Okay.
His fear of failure almost prevents him from destroying the Death Star.
Right?
But ultimately, it's by overcoming that fear that he achieves his destiny.
Yeah, good point.
The flaw doesn't diminish his victory. It makes it even more meaningful.
So flaws aren't about creating a tragic hero doomed to fail.
Right.
They're about crafting a story of resilience,
Yes.
of overcoming adversity,
Absolutely.
of turning those weaknesses into strengths.
That's the idea.
I'm so on board with this.
Good.
And I know we haven't delved into those specific examples from the D100 list yet,
Not yet.
but I think it's super important to understand this broader concept first.
Absolutely, because once you see flaws as storytelling tools,
Yeah.
that list becomes more than just a random collection of quirks.
Okay.
It becomes a treasure trove of possibilities.
Ooh, I like that.
A springboard for creating truly captivating characters and unforgettable stories.
All right, you've got me hooked.
Good.
Let's dive into that list and
Yeah.
see what kind of inspiration we can find.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're talking about specific examples from the D100 list.
Right, yeah.
We're ready to get into the nitty-gritty.
Let's do it.
So where do we even begin with this thing?
Well, we could just roll some dice and see what we get.
Okay.
But I think it's more fun to pick out a few that really stand out.
Okay.
Ones that have a lot of potential for drama or maybe even some humor.
Okay, I'm with you. Let's pick some juicy ones.
Okay.
How about fear of water? I feel like there's a lot you can do with that.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Seems pretty straightforward, but I bet we can make it interesting.
Absolutely. On the surface, it might seem simple, but think about the possibilities.
Okay.
What if the campaign takes place in like a coastal region?
Right.
Where sea travel is essential.
Oh.
Suddenly, that fear becomes a major obstacle. The characters got to confront their terror every time they set sail.
I'm picturing a scene where the ship is caught in a storm.
Oh, yeah.
The waves are like crashing over the deck.
Oh, man.
And this character's just clinging to the mast for dear life.
Totally. And think about the role-playing potential, too.
Yeah.
How do they interact with the other party members who might be totally fine at sea?
Right.
Do they try to hide their fear?
Right.
Or do they, like, completely freak out and need reassurance from their friends?
It's like their flaw becomes this bonding experience for the party.
Exactly.
They have to rely on each other to get through it.
Yeah, they had to support each other to overcome this challenge together.
I love it. Okay, give me another one, something with a little more intrigue.
Ooh. Okay, how about a compulsive liar?
Compulsive liar.
That one's just, like, ripe with possibilities.
Okay.
For both comedic moments and for, like, serious trust issues.
Oh, man. Can you imagine? Every time this character opens their mouth, everyone's just like rolling their eyes. Are they telling the truth?
Yeah, is this another tall tale?
Is this real or are they making this up?
Exactly. And think about the challenge for the player, too.
Oh, yeah.
They've got to be constantly thinking one step ahead.
Right.
Crafting elaborate lies that sound believable.
Yeah.
While also trying to, like, achieve their character's goals.
That's tough.
It's a tough balancing act. Could lead to some really memorable moments.
Yeah, this could be like a running joke in the group.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But it could also really backfire at like the worst possible moment.
Oh, absolutely.
What if they lie to like a powerful NPC who doesn't appreciate being deceived?
Yeah, not good.
Things could go south real fast.
It's a flaw that requires some careful consideration.
Okay.
And some really good role-playing.
Okay, let's pick one more.
Okay.
Something with a lot of dramatic potential.
Dramatic, okay.
Ooh. How about dependent on a magical item?
Ooh. Dependent on a magical item. That's a good one.
That one seems really interesting to me.
Yeah, this one can be a real game changer, both for the character and for the whole story.
Okay.
Imagine this character's entire identity
is
built around this magical item.
Okay.
It gives them their power,
their
confidence, maybe even their purpose in life.
Okay. I'm with you, so what happens?
And then, boom, the item is lost or stolen.
Oh, no.
Talk about a crisis.
Yeah.
It's like their whole world just comes crashing down.
Right.
They're forced to confront this dependence.
Right.
They got to find a way to function.
Yeah.
Without that crutch they've been relying on.
Right. That's tough.
It's a moment of vulnerability, of potential growth.
Yeah.
But also, a moment of extreme danger.
Right.
The DM could have a field day with this one.
Oh, yeah.
Creating scenarios that force the character to choose.
Oh, okay.
Do they rely on the item?
Right.
Or do they find a new way to overcome the challenge?
Right.
Maybe they even have to make a sacrifice.
Oh, okay.
Give up the item to save someone they care about.
Ah, that would be tough.
Oh, yeah.
But really powerful.
Right. This flaw is a gold mine for storytelling.
Yeah.
For exploring themes of loss, dependence, and ultimately,
What's that?
self-discovery.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's the beauty of this whole D100 list.
Right.
Each flaw, even the ones that seem simple,
Yeah.
can blossom into this whole garden of narrative possibilities.
So it's not just about picking a flaw and sticking it on your character sheet.
Yeah.
It's about the story potential, the challenges, the opportunities for growth.
Oh, sure.
And even the comedic moments.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Don't forget the laughs.
That can come from these imperfections.
Yeah, it's all part of it.
And it's a collaboration, right?
Oh, for sure.
Between me, the player, and the DM.
Yeah, you got to talk to each other.
Okay.
Share your ideas.
Right.
Work together to weave these flaws into the game.
I'm really starting to see flaws in a whole new light.
Good, I'm glad.
Not as weaknesses, but as like opportunities.
Right.
As like the building blocks of a great story. Yeah.
Exactly.
This has been an amazing deep dive.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I really am.
Good.
Okay, so as we wrap things up here,
Yeah.
what's the one thing you want listeners to take away from this conversation?
I think the most important thing is to embrace the flaws.
Okay.
Don't be afraid of them.
Right.
Let them challenge your characters, shape their journeys,
Okay.
and ultimately, make them shine even brighter.
So flaws aren't the enemy.
No, not.
They're like our secret weapon.
Exactly. They're the spice that makes the dish delicious.
I love that.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for more inspiration,
Yeah.
definitely check out the full D100 list from Lit RPG Reads.
It's a great starting point.
It is.
Yeah?
Okay, so until next time.
Yeah.
Happy gaming, everybody.
Happy gaming.
Okay, so we're talking about specific examples from that D100 list.
Yeah, we're ready to get into the nitty-gritty.
All right, so where do we even begin with this thing? It's like a buffet of imperfections ready to sprinkle onto our characters.
Well, we could just start rolling dice and see what fate throws at us.
Okay.
But I think it's more fun to pick out a few that really stand out.
Right.
You know, the ones that have that potential for, like, drama or maybe even a little humor.
Okay, I'm with you. Let's pick some juicy ones. How about fear of water? Seems pretty straightforward, but I bet there's more to it than meets the eye.
Oh, definitely. On the surface, it might seem like just a simple fear, but think about the possibilities.
Okay.
What if the campaign takes place in a coastal region?
Right.
Where sea travel is essential.
Uh-oh.
Suddenly, that fear becomes a major obstacle.
Right.
The character has to confront their terror every time they set sail.
Yeah, I can picture a scene where the ship is caught in a storm, the waves are crashing, and this character is like clinging to the mast for dear life. I'm able to even think about, fighting any monsters that might emerge from the depths.
Exactly. And think about the role-playing potential there, too. How do they interact with the other party members who might be totally comfortable at sea? Do they try to hide their fear?
Right.
Or do they openly, express their terror, seeking comfort and reassurance from their companions?
It's like their flaw becomes a catalyst for bonding within the party. They have to rely on each other, support each other to overcome this shared challenge.
Right, exactly.
Okay, give me another one. Something with a bit more intrigue.
Ooh, okay. How about compulsive liar?
Compulsive liar, okay.
This one is ripe with possibilities.
Right.
Both for, comedic moments and for creating some serious trust issues within the party.
Oh, man, can you imagine the chaos? Every time this character opens their mouth, the other players are, rolling their eyes, trying to figure out if they're telling the truth or just spinning another, tall tale.
Exactly. And think about the challenge for the player.
Oh, yeah.
They have to constantly be thinking one step ahead.
Right.
Crafting these elaborate lies that sound believable.
Right.
While also trying to achieve their character's goals.
Right, yeah. That's tough.
It's a delicate balancing act. It could lead to some truly memorable moments.
Yeah, it could become a running joke within the group.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But it could also create some serious tension, right?
Right.
What if they lied to a powerful NPC who doesn't take kindly to deception?
Oh, yeah, not good.
Things could go south real fast.
Yeah, it's a flaw that demands careful consideration and, some skillful role-playing.
Okay, let's pick one more.
Okay.
Something with a bit more dramatic potential.
Dramatic, okay. How about dependent on a magical item?
Ooh, dependent on a magical item. That one sounds interesting.
Yeah, this flaw can be a real game changer.
Okay.
Both for the character and for the story as a whole. Imagine this character's entire identity is built around this magical item.
Okay.
It gives them their power, their confidence, maybe even their purpose in life.
Yeah. Okay, so what happens when?
And then, boom, the item is lost or stolen.
Oh, no.
Talk about a crisis, right?
Yeah.
They're forced to confront their dependence.
Right.
Find a way to function without that crutch they've been relying on for so long.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's a moment of vulnerability, of potential growth, but also a moment of, extreme danger.
Yeah.
The DM could have a field day with this one, creating scenarios that force the character to choose between, relying on their item or finding new ways to overcome challenges.
Oh, okay.
Maybe they have to make a sacrifice, give up the item in order to save someone they care about.
That would be a tough choice.
Yeah.
But really powerful, too.
Right. So this flaw is a gold mine for storytelling.
Okay.
For exploring themes of loss, dependence, and ultimately self-discovery.
Self-discovery, yeah. It's a gem.
And that's the beauty of this whole D100 list.
Okay.
Each flaw, even the seemingly simple ones,
right,
is like a seed that can blossom into this whole garden of narrative possibilities.
So it's not just about picking a flaw and sticking it on your character sheet.
Right, exactly.
It's about thinking about the story potential, the challenges, the opportunities for growth.
For sure.
And even the comedic moments that can arise from these imperfections.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Don't forget the laughs.
So it's a collaboration, right?
Oh, for sure.
Between the player and the DM.
You got to talk to each other.
Right.
Share your ideas.
Right.
Work together to weave these flaws into the fabric of the game.
This has been an incredible deep dive. I'm starting to see flaws in a whole new light, not as weaknesses, but as opportunities.
Good. I love that.
As the building blocks of, truly memorable characters and stories.
That's the goal.
So as we wrap things up here, What's the one thing you want listeners to take away from this conversation?
I think the most important thing is to embrace the flaws.
Okay.
Don't be afraid of them.
Don't be afraid to let your characters be a little messy.
Exactly. Let them challenge your characters.
Yeah.
Shape their journeys, and ultimately, make them shine even brighter.
I love that. So flaws aren't the enemy.
No, not at all. They're like, they're the spice that makes the dish delicious.
Yeah. I love that analogy. And if you're looking for more inspiration, definitely check out the full D100 list from Lit RPG Reads.
Yeah, it's a great starting point.
All right, so until next time.
Yeah.
Happy gaming, everybody.
Happy gaming.